Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Hope everyone's had a fantastic week and weekend. Couple of bits of news. This video is primarily about Solana. For those who've watched me recently, I'm always banging the beat about Solana. I love Solana. I love what Solana stands for. There's a lot of negative press in the last probably few months with Solana. And for those who don't know much about Solana, or if you do know much about Solana, congratulations, it's good news. There's just major issues that have been reported over the last few months, really about the system crashing. And I've worked in many tech startups over the years, and building technology is always difficult. You know, there's always scalability issues, hosting capabilities, looking at how systems can function at scale. And I've looked at quite a few different, projects over the years that I've personally built, and there's always issues. And I think people are very quick to kind of jump on the bandwagon and sort of say, look, Solana, yeah, great software or platform, but it always fails. And I think when you're looking at sort of scalability of that sort of nature, Solana has got a huge amount of, fantastic bits of technology underneath the hood. It's got updates happening. We've got the fire dancer application coming out soon, or the application layer, to speed up the TPS, the transactions per second. So when you look at it, what Solana can offer in terms of TPS, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be going extremely fast. And what it can offer companies is endless possibilities. It really is. So this is not to moan about people who slander Solana. This is just about an honest conversation and a quick video about what's been happening with Solana this week. So I'm going to share a bit of information which I thought was really interesting, just to kind of get and paint the picture of, some information, what Solana's up to, what's been happening. So in the recent news, we had this information that I've sort of dug out, and it's basically talking about how Solana's ETF application happened with VanEck. Now, for those who don't know, it's great news. It really is great news. But what I've discovered is this application is actually an application to apply. So it doesn't mean they're actually applying. It's an application level 1, if you want to call it that, to apply for, an ETF for the future. So this is just a generic application. So, hey, we're interested to provide an ETF under the VanEck brand. So it's good news. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic news. It's a fantastic start to hopefully a really good ending, because if VanEck, who was one of the first ETF providers on Bitcoin, are going to go for Solana ETF, that's fantastic news. I mean, let's face it, it's a start of saying, right, hold on a minute. We've had Bitcoin, we've had Ethereum ETFs, and now we're looking at maybe the next sort of guy on the block. And I think Solana comes into that. So bit of information there. I won't go into too much detail about that, but it's just worth kind of knowing, what's the situation there, what's happening, and what's the future of ETFs with Solana. So other news as well, which it's bizarre how these things come out. Obviously, people have got a good PR team at Solana, and I think it's all about looking at pieces of software or features within the software that you can release and to your user base to kind of entice people to come onto your network. And with anything in blockchain, it's all about the network effect. Look at Bitcoin, look at Ethereum, and now look at Solana. Solana's famous for having meme coins. It's now starting to get huge adoption with big brands to start coming on there to start building their projects on. So it's really interesting to see what's happening. But in other news with Solana, this piece of information came out. Don't know if you've seen it yet, but it's interesting. It's worth talking about. Basically, the Solana Foundation, in collaboration with Dialect, has developed Blinks and Actions. So these are essentially bits of information, or it's a protocol, if you don't want to call it that, where, like when you share a URL you share, best explanation I'm trying to find here. Yeah, you share a YouTube link and it brings up the, it then goes and queries the HTML and it brings back the thumbnail image. So it just gives a better user experience within this YouTube case study to share a link and give you more information within that link. What Blinks is doing is essentially doing the same thing, but it's obviously on blockchain, but it's allowing to have interactions in Web 2. So picture this. For example, you go to do a share on X, you share the Blink link, and then you'll be able to do direct actions within that link. So what I mean by actions, I'm talking about, you know, for example, buy an NFT, tip a creator, just simply with one click. So if you think about this from a user interface perspective, one, the UI is going to look pretty neat. Two, the user experience, the UX is going to be pretty seamless as well. So it's interesting, and I think it's good for what Solana are actually doing, is to try to sort of dial out to the masses or reach out to the masses in the Web 2 stratosphere. And I think that's important to know, is if you're reaching out to people on Web 2 projects or applications, that's critical. You know, it's about bringing Web 3 into the Web 2 paradigm. And this is what this is doing, basically. It's going to have more of a user experience, bringing the Web 2 users to Web 3 that are on the Solana platform. So really, really cool news about that. I quite like it. I think, yeah, you know, other brands, don't get me wrong, other brands are going to follow suit just as quickly as possible. Probably Ethereum are going to do exactly the same thing. But nonetheless, it's a good thing. You know, it shows that the projects are thinking of different facilities and how to kind of grow you know, the actual application and functionality of the system. So let's look at what's going on with the prices of Solana and what's happening out there. Okay, so it's interesting because a lot's been happening. Hopefully you can see my little dog running past there, showing himself to everybody. So yeah, it's really interesting. So if you look at Solana, okay, so we're number 5th in market cap. Okay, so Bitcoin, if you look at market cap, we're over 1.21 trillion. Ethereum is at 407 billion. And if you look at Solana, it's still relatively small in market cap. But that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, are we going to be losing face in Solana in the near future? Absolutely not. But what it does tell me is you're having a fantastic growth. Because if you look at the growth on year, for Bitcoin, you look at 101%. You look at Ethereum, 76.4%. Look at Solana, 670%. And we kind of know what this is. We're getting more mainstream projects onto the platform. We're getting companies involved that are building, you know, other out-of-line applications. But also on top of that, you've got the meme coin craziness happening as well, right? You bring all that into the mix, no wonder you're getting this percentage increase. And I thought that was just really interesting how the percentage increase is shot up for Solana. So I think really look out for that. It's a really, really interesting period for Solana. And for me, totally bullish on Solana. I love Solana. And for all the, again, for all the people that slate Solana, you know, look at software. It's hard to build. When you're looking at a platform, you know, in terms of what Solana's doing, and you're looking at how they're trying to increase the transactions per second, you know, it's up to 1 million, you know, there's going to be a lot of, should we say, growth issues along the way. Nothing's perfected. You know, we didn't build Rome, you know, in a day. You know, things take time to get to a good level. So I think it's worth considering that when you're looking at Solana. Again, I absolutely love it. I just love what they're doing now. I think, you know, the partnerships are important as well. You know, they've done really good partnerships with Visa, I think, and MasterCard. So when you look at that, you've got to start to look at the bigger picture. And I was only looking at the year's growth, and I thought, fantastic, absolutely bang on, 670%. So keep an eye out for that. Hope you like this quick video. Have a fantastic week. And most importantly, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Really appreciate it. Just one last question. Please, it's not a question, it's actually an ask. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. It all helps us kind of grow. So I'll leave you on that note and have a fantastic evening ahead.